Hello there. The words that the mainstream media always mix together are HGV, driver, shortage, and Brexit, but they're just plain wrong. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please do press that little bell, but also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. You have to give the Remainer rearguard credit for sticking to their narrative, don't you? Because every time someone even hints at supply chain problems, the three words, because of Brexit, always trip so readily from their tongues. But they look at the UK economy in isolation to justify all of this, because anyone that looks further afield will see that this is far from an isolated UK issue. In fact, it goes much further afield and is much more widespread than most people would have imagined, and it goes back much further than the day Britain, not the UK because of Northern Ireland, the day Britain actually exited from the EU single market. Here's what the British International Freight Association, or BIFA, said back in December 2018 in a news article called Truck Driver Shortage Crisis Now Spreading Across the Whole of Europe. It was referring to a report by Transport Intelligence and said of it, the supply chain analyst shows that in just 6 countries, the UK, Germany, France, Denmark, Sweden and Norway, the shortage of drivers adds up to 127,500. And on the situation in Germany, the Transport Intelligence report itself says, in Germany, the DSLV Transport Union reports that in the next 15 years, 2/3 of drivers will retire. Germany is facing a shortage of 45,000 truck drivers, with around 30,000 leaving the profession every year. This compares with only 2,000 people receiving truck driving qualifications each year. And France had a 20,000 driver shortage too. And that was back in 2018. So what say the pro-EU anti-Brexit brigade about that? And BIFA said that driver numbers have been on the decline for the last 2 decades. Nothing to do with Brexit then, unless a time machine was involved, of course. And BIFA also said, and remember this was back in 2018, this gap in the labour market has been partly filled by an influx of East Europeans, but the report warns there is a limit as to how much this will ease the driver shortage. And it goes on to say that when drivers do leave Eastern Europe to work elsewhere, it creates shortages in the place they leave. So pray do tell me, any rejoiner types out there, how Brexit caused there to be shortages of drivers in Germany, France, Sweden, Denmark and Norway, all cited in the report back in 2018. But you won't, because you can't. And with the trend being for ever fewer drivers, it sounds to me like the whole European Union single market supply chain setup was hanging by a thread back then. And that was back in 2018, and as far as I can see, nothing's changed, except it's got worse. Now move on to the start of the pandemic last year. I put together a video in May 2020 called UK Haulage Sector on Brink of Collapse. And I explained how the sudden drying up of delivery work was putting drivers on the scrap heap and haulage companies at immediate risk of bankruptcy. And I quoted the Chief Executive of the Road Haulage Association, Richard Burnett, saying, in the survey, 52% of those who responded said they did not expect to survive for longer than a month. That was 3 weeks ago, and now we are already starting to see businesses collapse. Their customers are also collapsing, putting more pressure on cash flows, so we are seeing a domino effect. Operators are now failing on a worrying scale. Insolvency numbers are increasing. On top of that, those that were working found themselves out on a limb away from home with nowhere to eat, drink or relieve themselves because all the roadside services were shut down. They were getting crap pay, no quality of life, while delivering so that everyone else could work from their sofas or get paid to loaf about. So is it any surprise that any drivers at all are left? It wasn't Brexit that drove them away, it was the pandemic stripping them of work and therefore money. And wherever the drivers went, they found themselves locked down and unable to move. And I said that if we came out the other side of this pandemic without a fit and ready haulage sector, we would be struggling. But the reverse has happened. We even shut down lorry driver training and testing, something exacerbated by a DVLA strike. But as I've said, it's not just the UK. Here's what Italy 24 News reported last month. There is a shortage of truck drivers in Italy, a lack that has lasted 4 years and accentuated by the restart of the economy after the stalemate due to the crisis caused by the coronavirus emergency. Many supply chains were caught unprepared, and the trucking associations opted for a drastic request: the immediate hiring of a greater number of truck drivers from abroad and the launch of active policies to solve the crisis and avoid stalling in the sector in the future. And then there's Germany. Here's a Google translation of what Welt reported in June. In summer of all times, the security of supply of beer and other beverages is at risk because tens of thousands of truck drivers are missing in Germany. Soon, pubs and beer gardens that have only just opened again could be an unfortunate scenario. Try blaming all of that on Brexit. Go on, please, try. Everyone's looking to import drivers. And also in June, the International Road Transport Union, the IRU, put out a press release saying, truck driver shortages are expected to increase in 2021 by over a quarter on 2020 levels in almost all of the 23 countries surveyed in IRU's recent global survey of road transport firms. And now we have the Brexit effect hitting the US haulage industry. That's right. Bloomberg reported just yesterday that a trucking crisis has hit the USA and that they were looking for more drivers from abroad. A shortage of truckers across the US has become so severe that companies are trying to bring in drivers from abroad like seemingly never before, it said. Looks like drivers can now command a big premium, with the Telegraph reporting that HGV driver pay has leapt by 10.7%. And the BBC yesterday reported on one case where one driver, Tom Reddy, saw their pay increase by 40%. But Tom told the BBC, "But they could pay me £80,000 a year and it wouldn't be enough. I want to leave." And that's probably more to the point. These sorts of skills shortages occur when pay and conditions are not up to scratch. To get the drivers, we'll have to pay more, much more. We are now seeing who the key workers really are in the UK economy, with drivers being one of them. But we pay them the least while throwing money at people to create fancy colour reports and spreadsheets that no one reads, and spending untold amounts on branding, forgetting that if you can't get the product manufactured or put in front of customers, then the rest is a bit pointless. Now I want to get on to Asda going 100% for British beef. But first, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my Super Thanks, Patreon and PayPal supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug with my mug on it. Links in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep this channel going. The supermarket chain Asda is switching to 100% British source beef, something that the Irish Farmers Journal described as presenting serious challenges for the Irish beef sector. According to the report, the UK is only 75% self-sufficient in beef, with the Republic of Ireland supplying 250,000 tonnes of the 300,000 tonnes the UK ends up importing. And this decision by Asda could see our imports from Ireland potentially fall by 20,000 tonnes. The article went on to say that the absence of Asda will be felt, and one industry source saying that they need to keep a foothold in the UK market because it is by far the best priced retail market in Europe. Which sounds to me like we pay top dollar for beef in the UK. And I also have to wonder if Asda's decision is in any way based on the UK starting to impose full import checks on goods from the EU as of January the 1st, 2022. Because although the EU started full checks immediately on the 1st of January this year on our exports to their single market so as to cause us as many problems as they could, we chose to ease in the rules on our side, so giving people a chance to get used to the new rules. But all that changes on January the 1st, 2022. So what's your opinion on the truth behind lorry driver shortages? Please like and comment below.